What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June 27th. We're coming up at the end of the month, and getting ready for July, man. Believe it, can you believe we're already halfway through the year? Like, this is wild. I can still remember all the previous freaking New Year's going on, but it is what it is. And time keeps flowing, and we're gonna keep rocking. So, last night was really cool. A lot of the things that we had written out actually played out exactly the way we had said them. EU continued to rise. EG was a perfect setup. I'm still inside of AUDNZD for a buy because I have an overall sell once it does that shot up because it needs to pull back. It's due for it. Euro Chief went for a rise. I don't know what happened to NZD/JPY. Let me see. That one just that one went up too. Okay, so that was overall rise. That was right. The only one that didn't do what I wanted was EURCAD, which I had EURCAD for an overall. I had it for a buy the other day, but let me see if I can find it. Euro USD. This is EURCAD. So like I had it for a continued drop, but there was Canadian news this morning, and what it did was it ended up pushing price back. And this is what we were looking for before, because there was a peak formation high here. Right now, there's a peak formation low, but there was a peak formation high, and I was like, hey, if it's going to be a sell, wait for it to pull back. And it never did that pullback; it just consolidated, and then the news shot it up. So it still didn't take out these highs, so it's still technically valid, even though it's a peak formation. But the EMAs are super tight, so that went wrong. And then USD actually did exactly what I predicted, which was funny because this is a peak formation high here, and it had a continued sell. It was just a continued sell drop. So during the analysis last night for the paid members, um, it was dropping. It dropped during Asian session, which was weird because this is a New York session pair, right? And then I was like, watch, they're going to induce sellers here. They're going to get people to start selling here. And then the CAD news is going to reverse it in the morning. And we're going to get a peak formation low. And lo and behold, we have a new peak formation low. It's the very first one. So it played out exactly the way I had said it, even though I had it for a continued drop only to go with the peak formation. But that CAD news really set it on pace. So now, if this is going to be a continued drop, this actually might be a signature trade of mine. And I might end up trading this tonight, to be honest, because it's showing some hidden divergence. And these are a few things that we're going to start going over. I actually want to show you guys, for those of you that are not in the private group, let me show you some screenshots. Is that the screenshot? No. Download. Here we go. So this is something I created yesterday, and anybody can download this. It's completely free, but I'm going to show you. It's a little trading checklist, right? So some of the things on here I'm not expecting you guys to get, but I know how to look at most of this stuff right here, and it's just confluences for criteria. So like, is price at a significant support resistance, significant trend line? Is it hitting the 50 moving average? Is it in a supply and demand zone? Do the fibs line up? I want to call Bollinger Bands? Is it inside of a specific zone within them? And is there a shark fin? And then you have extra confluences with the peak formation, hidden divergence, right? You don't enter because of these. These are just something that you add on top of the three that pop out here, right? Because there must be at least three of these to take a good trade. So if you can get at least three and then add these on top for extra confluences for these specific ones, then you can go, because you can't enter off of just a peak formation. You can't enter because it's just hidden divergence. It's not always correct, or regular divergence, or if the RSI is overbought, oversold, right? It can continue. You have to use them in a way that allows you to get more confidence so that these make more sense. So if you guys want to utilize this, you can go right ahead and do that. I posted it in Discord. I'll be posting a Discord link inside of the YouTube. I'm just making sure that with the team, if it's not there, then it's because I have to still update something on the back end for the automation, so that when people come in, we can actually get them into the trial. We're just double checking that all the APIs are working and that there's no problems. But yeah, so let me go over all the pairs that we're looking at today. And starting off, it is USDCAD. So let's take a look. Right now, we have a peak formation low, so it's a brand new low, and the only thing that is saying I don't want to take this for a buy yet is for the fact that it did not break this high, right? So since it didn't break that high, this is not a confirmed peak formation. This is still a downtrend, and on top of that, it's hitting the 4-hour water, which for anybody that's been paying attention on the free trainings or the people that are in the paid group, I've been looking for a thing called hidden divergence, and that's when we have continued downtrends, right? And overall, we have a lower high, lower high, lower high, right? And then on the RSI, TDI, we have a higher high. So this is what we call a continued divergence, and it's one of my favorite setups where essentially it pulls back to the 50 EMA and it maintains a trend line at the same time, right? Because the trend line, it's one of the extra confluences. So this, let me show you guys right there, right? So 1.2.3 prices going along the 50. And it's lined up directly with the 50 EMA. So if this respects this area, right? This is just a 4-hour candle. So this thing's still got 3.5 hours before it closes. Then what we should be expecting is this thing to drop, right? Now, the only thing I need to make sure of is to see if the fib levels make sense. And right now it's at the 786. So I don't want to take this just yet. I need to make sure that there is more confluence based on the lower time frame. If we go to the 15-minute chart, I might be able to start seeing something. So like, for example, we have shark fins, we have divergence going on, right? But in order for this to be verified, it needs to push down something. It needs to push down a little bit more, maybe throw a reversal pattern, because if it doesn't stop here, then we're getting in prematurely and this thing could continue up, pull back and rise, right? So we're going to be paying attention here. I would not buy it yet. It still hasn't broken this significant high, and it's still considered a downtrend. So we're going to have to be patient, but I do like it setting up the way it is currently for my signature trade, which is the hidden divergence on the 50 on a downtrend with the EMAs panned out. So we're going to see. And then we'll go from there. Let me see if it actually lines up with the other 50. Yep, it does. Well, it's breaking it actually. This is a simple moving average. It's a little bit different. It might actually continue to go up, but that's why we're waiting. And then here, don't need that. Okay. So that's what we're looking for tonight. It's been wanting to make a move up. It's been dropping for a minute now. The daily, it didn't really hit that the blueberry at the 800 EMA, but it's ultimately, it needs to pull back since it's been dropping down, made new lows, broke significant support zones, and now it's hitting a new support zone, previous resistance, now support, to continue up. Now we just got to see how it ends up playing out. It's still early. This is a New York session pair, but I am going to be seeing whether or not I want to actually take this for a sell. I will talk about it in the Discord and we'll coordinate from there. So even though it says peak formation low, I'm still overall bearish on this until proven otherwise. So if you're seeing this recording, I'm bearish until it breaks in this high. If it breaks up here, I'm no longer bearish. I'm bullish, and then I'll wait. So hold on, let me fix up my whiteboard real quick so that I have solid setup. All right, so UCAD for sells. Now let's go to the other one. We got EURNZD. This one shot up, made a new high after consolidating for the last week. Now let's go to EURNZD right here. Don't need that. Okay. So we're on the 15-minute. Let me go to the 4-hour. Well, let me go to the weekly first. We're gonna really start diving into this. Weekly's clearly going up, and I believe this thing's actually going to retest. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks now that it needs to retest this high. There is no stopping this. I think it's just going to continue up. Let's go down to the daily. It broke out of this trend line and it exactly retested it. This is why I consolidated, is because it broke the trend line and came back, retested it. So it's continuing to move up. So we're definitely bullish on EURNZD for certain. I don't even need to do more of an analysis now. It's just more of let's look for an opportunity to buy it. Because this is an NZD pair, so this could be the actual move, meaning we may have missed it, or we just got to wait for a pullback. So it's breaking the highs now. Once it officially closes even more, the best idea is to wait for a pullback. You can go on the 15-minute chart, zoom back, zoom out, and wait for it to pull back to this 15 EMA. And if it pulls back to 50, not 15, but if it pulls back to this 50 EMA or better, right, because of it breaking out here, this thing could pull back to the 50 EMA and create the hidden divergence, which would give us an even better confirmation. So I'm going to go off of that little peak there, which is right here. And if price pulls back to this zone and the RSI ends up dropping farther down past this RSI, this is what we're calling hidden divergence, because this low is going to be higher than this, or lower than this low, and this low are going to be higher than this low. Therefore, it would be a perfect opportunity to bounce off the 50 EMA, look for a buy, and we can take it to the point at which it starts to reverse, because this will form a peak and it will drop. So Euro NZD, wait for a pullback, and then we can get in on a buy and match it up with what we have here on this, right? So we can match it up with previous support, which if it pulls back, it could go back into the support zone, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a solid zone, which will match up with the 50, giving us 1, 2, potentially 3 in the Fibonacci's, and then the shark fin, which would be 4. So that would be a perfect confluence and perfect trade. So moving on, let's go to GBPCAD. Let's see. Do I have that up here already? I don't. Is GBPNZD on there tonight before I touch it? GBP, it is on GBPNZD. US30, US30. I don't really care about that pair. NZD USD. I'm just trying to save myself from having to reset it. All right, that one's not on here. So we're going to go to here. And we're going to type in GBPCAD. That one definitely moved last night because of the CAD news. Technically this morning. All right, so we have a peak formation low. And let me just say this too. The peak finder, for those of you that have it or don't have it, a lot of people assume that the moment the peak is formed that we just, we take it, it's clear as day. No, there's obviously formations that we need to set, but I've realized there's two different peaks. There is reversal peaks, and then there's what I call pullback peaks, where you have, let's say this pullback. This is a reversal peak down here, and then price continues to go up and for a few days, and you got a big reversal. And then you have what could be something like here. And that on a higher time frame, this could be like a 4-hour or a daily, it would say this is a peak, but we know that overall that this peak is more significant and it broke structure here. Therefore, this peak is technically what we call a pullback peak, meaning we have to go, it's against the trend. So this is not going to be a big move down. We can't just hold it for days and days. We have to be smart, look at the bigger time frame, and realize that this is only going to be an intraday trade, maybe a scalp, depending on what time frame it's at, and then we get out. Or we could just avoid it overall and say, this isn't a solid peak. It's not confirmed. The trend's actually going up. I'm not going to trade against the overall trend, right? So you have to be able to know which is which, because a lot of people just assume, and I've actually did some surveys, right, from other people that are looking at this, and some of the people that are looking at it, they have this, I can't trust the peak finder, even though you guys are talking about it. It is, there's some news. Well, that's interesting. AUDNZD just tanked. It is what it is. But some of the people couldn't rely on it because the peaks were switching up. There'd be a peak, let's say like there'd be a peak here, and then the next day there's a peak here, and they're like, I don't know what to look at, it's too confusing. And it's usually comes from people that don't know how to properly do market analysis. So they just assume that, I'm just going to take every single peak that pops up, and that's where people get fucked up, and you can't do that. So let me move forward. GBP CAD. Let's go to the daily. It's stuck in some consolidation. We have in the trend, it's stuck in between support resistance zones. It's got some trend lines it's staying in between. Overall, it's going up though, and we could see that because of the levels, right? So you got peak down here. That's like a half Batman, definitely, or some sort of bigger or lower time frame W. Push up, broke structures, changes of character, level 1 reset, push level 2, and now we're just riding on these EMAs, and eventually this will, depending on how far down it wants to go, it will continue up, right? So we're overall bullish on this pair. It's just a matter of where exactly are we taking this and how long. So now let's go to the 4-hour. All right. So we have a trend line here. Right? So you got multiple hits. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, right? So I use these as just not like specific points, but just prices where this is an area where price reacts, right? So you have that zone, and then we have this zone. So price is stuck in this consolidation, and it's most likely going to stay stuck until it gets to the very end where these crisscross. And when they crisscross, we're probably going to see it shoot off in the direction, right? Because overall on the daily, we are up, we are bullish. So the fact that this push up, it looks like it's going to continue up for the next couple days to at least hit that zone up here where this resistance is. And once it hits that, we could see a potential reversal. Now, this is on the weekly. This is on the 4-hour. So like I said, this could take a couple days, and it might hit that peak on Thursday and then maybe reverse Friday, or just hit up here and then consolidate out, not really do anything. We have to pay attention to that. Let me go to the 1-hour. And right now, is it? Nope. So this is a continuation. Yeah, I would say this is confirmed for a pullback or for overall direction going up. Doesn't have the change of character on this time frame, which is okay. I would want to see a pullback a little bit more. It could continue up, but it's not the most ideal time to get in. I think what we're going to want to see is a drop down to these EMAs, right? So we'll see a drop down on the 15-minute to these EMAs, either the 50 or to the 200, which is the 1-hour water, and then shot up. Now let me see, go back to the 1-hour real quick to see if this lines up. It's not the best. Ideally, it would be cool to have it drop down to here, which would line up with the 1-hour water. Let me go to the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour catch up. So I want to see this drop down a little bit lower. I want to see it drop down before we're bullish on it again. So I'm going to say GCAD, we're bullish on GCAD. One second. Okay. Now let's go to Euro Chief. Peak formation low, continued rise, just like we had it on Euro USD, Euro USD, EURCAD, Euro GBP, Euro Chief. All right, so we had this pair for a continuation up, just like Euro USD. It played out perfectly, went right up to this resistance zone, and now it's consolidating out. But the question is it going to continue or is it going to keep dropping, right? Because we had a peak formation high here, and now we got a peak formation low, and people are going to be like, oh, I don't know which direction it's going to be. So let's take a look. I don't need this to go away. Let's go to the daily. So we got a higher time frame. This broke here, so this is no longer needed. Or I can actually fix it up. So we'll go to here. One, two, three. So, and look what it lines up with. It lines up directly with the 200 EMA, which is the weekly water. And if that weekly water continues up, we'll have some bearish hidden divergence, which would be amazing. Because if this pushes up, right, what's going to happen is this RSI is going to go up here, most likely be a shark fin, hit that 50 EMA, be higher than this peak, which is this up here, causing a hidden divergence, and then we can sell the shit out of this. So that'll be for sure interesting. And it looks like it already happened over here. If we look at the side here, this was hidden divergence, I believe, from the top here. Yeah, this is hidden divergence. So you have bounce right off the 50 EMA. That's why we're looking at it. And wrong thing. And it got down to this point, hit the 50 EMA again, and then it dropped. It wasn't as clear, but it still worked out. Now, I am questioning it though because of how many times it has hit it. It's hit it multiple times. I don't know if it's going to keep respecting it. So that if it does continue up, it just based on what I'm seeing, how many times it went, I think it's going to break through and continue. So, and that's just the weekly, giving us more of a bullish move on the shorter time frames. And EURGBP is definitely bullish, moving up. And we got the 4 hour. Went down, retested the zone, retested that. It's wicking. So it's kind of stuck in the middle. This actually might start consolidating because the EMAs are not fanned out, which I don't like. I like when they're fanned out, it's easier movements, clearer structure. And now we have things like this where you have a high and a higher high and a lower low, which that is literally the first signs of ranging where price gets stuck in the middle and it can go up, down, up, right? It kind of gets confusing. So at this point, you would have to rely on the 15-minute charts and be in and out. These would be simple day trades. So it's essentially, if it drops low enough, we'll look for it to hit a significant point of reference and line it up with support resistance, maybe some fib levels, and then we look for buys. Or we wait for it to push up, retest the zone, maybe break it a little bit. The moment it breaks it, you can sell that because it will have to retest and go down. It's not the cleanest pair right now. I just based off what I'm seeing though, from the higher time frame perspective, it is bullish. So my mind wants to say, remain bullish, but this thing could drop down first. So I'm not going to really say yes or no to trading this. I'm going to just leave it up I'm going to say no because I'm confused. I don't have clarity, so we're not going to trade it. Let's go to US 30. Don't have that, and I don't think gold in there, so we're going to go to here. All right, so US 30. With a peak formation low 2 days ago, 1, 2 right there. Let's go to the daily. Well, this thing is just consolidating too. Hitting highs, hitting lows. Boom, wicked right off of the top there. Let's go to the weekly. Yeah, this thing is still consolidating, guys. I think it's going to stay stuck here. I don't really think it's going to go anywhere yet. The daily. 1 second. I'm looking at something on my phone. Okay. Now let's go to this looks like a solid trend line. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's maintained itself. Not trying to force any drawn lines here, but price has reacted multiple times from this angle. So we know that this is getting prepped to do something, and it's clearly respecting this start. It got 1, 2, 3 hits. Now it's in the middle. This is on the daily. Let's go to the 4 hour. Price broke here for the low. we tested that 200 EMA. It didn't really show any hidden divergence there either. So this is a pullback, but it is showing some hidden divergence here, but it's not the best one. The only thing is it's pulling back. Well, let's see. Let's see how it does here. So we got, no, that's not a good line. I'm not going to force that. It is hitting, it did bounce off its support. It's hitting resistance right now. Even though it's not inside this box, this is still a resistance zone. And we can see that through price history as well. Multiple hits, multiple hits. And look where it's at now. Price just kind of goes and reacts in between where it's at. So clearly in a resistance spot, it's a matter of, is it going to reverse here? Or is this thing going to actually continue up? And based on what I'm seeing with the multiple changes of character, you could see, oh, wrong button here. So we got to change a character, which is good, right? It's a confirmation for the peak. And now if this is going to be a continuation, which ultimately just based on how it's looking, I think it will be, because it's not clearly bouncing off this. Let me see what these two. Okay, so if I go to the 4 hour again, then this gives it a little bit more room, meaning I think it's actually, and I don't have time to explain all of this, but there's the 50 EMA and then there's the 50 simple moving average, which is the SMA. So simple is a little bit more loose. EMAs, exponential, are a little bit more tight. They have faster movements. And either way, they either will bounce off the 50 EMA or the 50 SMA. And the fact that it's on this one, I think it's going to shoot up a little bit higher. So that is telling me we're bullish for the night on US 30. Say US 30 is bullish. Go with the peak. I do like it for that continuation. That's not a reversal pattern. This has to shoot up one more time. So look for buys tonight on US 30. Most likely to be on the EMAs or SMAs. So if we go back to here, I want to see this thing drop a little bit more. Which would shoot this down. And if it shot down a little bit more than this, it would take out this peak, giving us the continuation, and then we can look for buys. Right. So I'm going to say we're a little bit more bullish on that. Now let's go to Euro USD. Continuation happened last night. That was perfect. Euro USD. The daily. It's maintaining its channels that it's in. It still has to shoot up a little bit higher. I'm still bullish on this, guys. Nothing's really saying anything for a bearish move yet. This could, or if it is bearish, it's throwing some reversal patterns. I said that this could be a head and shoulders on a lower time frame on the 4 hour. You got the left shoulder head, and then it pulled back exactly to the right shoulder area, making this drop. But I don't see the divergence here, right? So it's a little. It did go right to our zone though, which was cool. Happened. Wow, I didn't even realize that. So every time you see these blocks, this square rectangle, this blue rectangle, what am I saying? That was the supply zone. So we were here last night doing the analysis. I said it's going to shoot up and hit this supply zone. And what do you fucking know? It did it to a T, right? So it was perfect. Now, if we're going to be looking for this to be a continuation, which I do believe we have that ability, I want to see this thing drop first. I need to see this thing drop down, hit some recent support, maybe here, or maybe a little bit lower, maybe go back down into this zone completely, and then look for that reversal. Now, if that happens, then we have a solid peak formation or a hidden divergence. So let me look at this. I'm going to go based off of this one right here, because this was the last really big push. Well, actually down here was, but we'll see. So we got from here, 61.8 matches there. If I go down to here, it's still pretty significant. Ready? So I'm going to go from this 61.8, And now I'm going to fix this, bring it to this one, and then draw a line here. Right, so by doing so, we give ourselves a zone. So if it doesn't hit the first line, it might hit the second line. And I believe this could be an imbalance. Yep, there's an imbalance right there. Let me zoom in so you can see it. Right there. So kind of makes sense. Would be interesting. All right, let's zoom out. Okay. So I'm going to say, let's maintain the bullish move, and just look for a pullback, and then we'll continue, right? So I'm going to be bullish still. I don't want to say this is a reversal yet. It's too, like, my gut wants to say, oh yeah, it's a reversal, but it already pulled back. So I guess we'll find out. If it does end up breaking and going past, then it's going to drop, but trying to remain in a place of this thing wants to shoot up a little bit more. So I'm going to say EU is bullish. Oh yeah. Let me see this real quick. So I'm looking at my phone right now, looking at peaks. AUD shot down. Didn't take it out though. It's not closed yet. So I gotta see how it closes in the next 13 minutes. And then I'll have my answer. Now let's go over gold. Oh, I guess we did have gold. XAU USD. And it is a peak formation high. Okay, I like that. 1, 2, 3. Overall, go to the 4-hour. Bounced off that low. Oh, look at that. It bounced into our supply and demand zone too from the daily, I think. Is it the daily? Yep. Look at that. Boom. Right on top of it. Fucking perfect, man. One sec. Okay. I would say it's still making its way down. I still have it for a bearish move. Go to the daily. Yeah, it doesn't really want to go up. There's really nothing solid. I mean, somebody would say, oh, it's a double bottom, but it's not a clear one. It's not a clean double bottom. Not yet, actually. So I would say continuation, to be honest. Plus, I've been wanting this thing to drop forever. It did weeks ago. Let me go back to the daily and see. Yeah, this thing still has to drop down to this 200 EMA. See, I remember calling it first sell over here. So it continued, rode that water, finally dropped, and it's going to keep dropping. It's going to keep going down. So we're going to stay bearish. Gold is bearish. Anything stop on high drop. So let's go with gold for bearishness. Then we got USD Chief right there. For the daily, how did it play out? Respecting these trend lines. Literally 1, 2, 3. I drew these up yesterday. It's gonna go right back up. But it's still overall bearish. Go back to the 4. I think this thing is gonna consolidate a little bit more. It's got another trend line going. It's got multiple points of reaction on this zone. So if anything, I want to see it. I want to see it shoot up to hit this area, right? And this is peak formation high. So I don't think this is valid, mainly because it's stuck in a range. Right? So that's the only other time. But so if it's not a pullback peak or a reversal peak, it's a ranging peak, and that goes back and forth. So you can't truly rely on them. My gut is saying that this is not a solid peak. I think it's actually going to continue up from here. So my gut is saying USD Chief is bullish. U Chief makes me question Euro USD for a minute because Euro USD and U Chief tend to go opposite, mainly because of the dollar. But they can go the same way every now and then. Doesn't matter. We're gonna find out though. But this is ranging, so this is different. Euro USD is not ranging. It's making its move. So I would say bearish overall and then rise. So let's see. Just wait for it to drop and then we look for better entries. USD Chief, just looking for buys only. GN. Oh wow, there must have been GBP or NZD news. Let me take a look. Today, June 26th. Refresh. 9:30 p.m. Oh, this was it. It was AUD news. Oh yeah, that's what caused it. It affected the NZD news too, because this is 9:30 EST and it's 8:52 my time. There, so this is correct. This should say 8:30, but I'm too lazy to change it right now. So let me see if there's any other news. Ooh, all at 9:30 Eastern. You have GBP, JPY, damn. It's gonna be all the currencies are gonna be fucking moving. Well, this is gonna be fun, right? Super fun. Okay. But this is wild. So let me see. Because I think this was the same thing as Euro NZD, how we both have them rising up. What the hell is this? Why is it there? Respected the trend. I don't know. Oh yeah, we were ultimately wanting it to go up, but I was wanting it to shoot back down before it decided to go up, and it's not doing that. Instead, it is broke the trend line. It's going right back up here. Now the only thing is it hasn't broke it yet, but this thing's got a lot of momentum. So either they're inducing buyers right now, and they're gonna break the high and then reverse it because they do divergence like that, or this is gonna be a whole new trend, just like Euro NZD. So if we are gonna be bear or bullish on this, we're already too late to enter. If we're gonna be logical, I mean, if you want to enter off of, oh, it's moving really high, you're not really gonna last. I think it's gonna push up to these areas, honestly. So it's down here. So you got like the highs, you got resistance right there. So you have up until that point, and where it's at right now is at 89.6. So it's got a whole 100 pips to move. Wait a sec, actually more. This is a daily, right? So if we're going from here to here, say right there, 200 pips. I'm sorry. So it's got 200 pips, giving us some leeway, giving us some wiggle room. So ultimately, we are bearish on GBPNZ or bullish on GBPNZD, but it's making its move now. So anything you do has to be pullbacks. GN bullish. Then we got. I already did GBPNZD. We got CADCHF. Okay, so we got a CADCHF. GU's not on here, is it? It was 4-day P formation, but I'm not going over it. So let's take a look at CADCHF. Man, this thing is just chilling. It is reacting off of these price points. Here. It's not really good. Oops. So let's go to the daily. this thing wants to, yeah, this thing's got to drop. This thing has to drop to this EMA. It needs to pull back. It hasn't even touched it. It crossed through it and hasn't even pulled back to it. So overall, this is dropping. Let me delete this. Now, actually, this could line up really well. Let me see. This actually would be better down here. So if this is going to drop, and that's the 4 hour, we need to see this thing pull back first because it just broke structure, right? It broke structure down here, and that'll show up on here. Yep, change of character. Look at that. Pull back up for a retrace. And if that pulls back up, we could see this thing actually be a retracement up to this 50, right? So I'm going to do let me do this. We got the top of here. Go down to the low where it's at, in which case would be the open. And the 61.8 lines up with recent support. And if we hide this, we'll see it a little bit clearer. So this is a 61.8 level, about here. And clearly price has reacted on this zone multiple times. Yep. Clear as day. So that is a solid area. I'm going to be looking for this to be totally bearish. This might be one of the free peaks I give out tonight. CADCHF for peak formation high. Yeah. We're going to be waiting for this to pull back, guys. And we are going to sell CADCHF. I like this setup. CADCHF. That's already like, so you got one, right? One on the retrace to the trend line, 2 for recent support and out-term resistance, 3 hit on the EMA. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 Fibonacci levels. And then we would probably get a shark fin. Maybe not, which is fine. You don't need all of it. Maybe a supply and demand zone, which actually this is one. This whole area, right? Because you got downtrend. And then that blue candle right here, let me zoom in a little bit more. This blue candle, that is the supply. The moment it pulls back, to drop again, this whole zone. So I'm going to draw this right here, rectangle. So from here up is the whole zone. Right? So that is exactly what we're looking for. I am looking for price to go up to here into this middle part, and we're going to sell the shit out of it. So now, EURCAD. So this was interesting. I'm going to get rid of this. I had this thing overall for I told to continue to drop last night, but like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, the CAD news shot it up, is what it is. Now we just got to verify whether or not it's going to continue in that direction or if it's going to continue down, right? Because we're ranging clearly. We have higher highs, lower lows. It's stuck in the middle. So let's go to EURCAD. Perfect. It looks like it's just trying to pull back to this 400, this 200 EMA, which almost lines up with the daily. It's not exactly what it is, what we want, but if we're seeing at the peaks here, right? Here's the fib levels. This is a confirmation. So you got this point going down to there. And this point, by the way, lines up with this peak right there. Right? So that peak is already lower than where price is at, giving me more clarity that this wants to shoot up to the 50 EMA on the daily. Let me see where the 50 SMA is. It's a little bit higher, but it's all good. But the 800 SMA lines up with the 50 EMA. So that would be more of a confluence there. I would see a push up tonight only for it to sell, right? So I want price to shoot up and then ultimately become a drop. And then that would fulfill the overall daily perspective. Now it could take a minute for it to play out. And on top of that, look at that. Look where the 61.8 is, right on top of support or support term resistance right there. And it's a supply zone. If we go to the daily, I'll show you. Right? Around the daily. Let's go to the weekly. See how price drops and you got that little bullish candle, that little divot of a weekly? That is the supply zone. That's the supply zone. So it lines up directly, supply and demand zone, it's all the same. But it lines up directly with this little consolidation. Every supply zone is a range on a lower time frame. So this lines up perfect. Let me see if there's any trend line. Nah, I don't really like to draw the trend line. That's okay. It doesn't really need it. That's just an extra confluence. So we got 61.8. Yep. Support. Yep. EMA. Yep. That's 3. 1, 2. Oh, and the supply zone 3, 4. So we got 4. And then if we get the shark fin, that's even better. It's already shooting out and potentially a Bollinger Band. I usually use those for reversals. That helps me with regular divergence. These actually confirm regular divergence for me. So, but that's a whole separate video I'll do. Yeah, so I'm going to be bullish temporarily for it to be an overall sell. So I'm going to say, oh man, I'm going to put bearish because I need this shit to drop. EURCAD, ECAD for a drop. Bullish temporarily, drop overall. Now I'm just curious to see if that's exactly what EU wants to do. We'll see. All right, and then I'll finish it up with EURGBP. Now this one played out beautifully last night. If anybody grabbed that, that'd be awesome. EURGBP right here. We had this for a buy. It was a peak formation low 3 days ago. 1, 2, 3. Pull back this first day. Awesome. Pull back the second day. Awesome. This was just overall exactly what we want because on the weekly, we look at the weekly, it broke structure, had a change of character. We'll look at it from here. Well, it says a change of character is there, but then this would be the break of structure down. So it broke structure on the daily, maybe. Did it show a little bit better? Let me hide this so I can see. Yeah, right. So you got the big change of character right there. Instant pullback. And look at this. Look where price is at. This is why I'm setting up for the sell. So EURGBP is going on my keep an eye out list for ultimate sell. So EURGBP, EG, and then ECAD, right? Because these are setting up for daily signature trades for me. Daily. And if that happens, I'm not trading anything else. So I might end up waiting for these to play out so that I don't have to fucking trade every night. But if let's say this plays out exactly how I want it, let me just get some confirmation here. We have this peak right here because I go with the peaks of the RSI. That's right here. I'm gonna just go to the top so it's easier. And then from here down, right? So the 61.8, look at that. Lines up directly with where our, the 50 EMA will eventually line up. Let me see the SMAs. Yeah, I don't think it's going to reach the SMAs, it's too far up. But it's going to reach up to here. It lines up with the 800 EMA. That's awesome. Support. It has this line right here, right? This red line that actually lines up perfectly, just a little bit higher than 61.8 is the support. Turn resistance, giving us a solid foundation for the trade. Look, reaction, reaction, reaction. All that, it's all we need, right? We don't need it to be perfect. We just need to see that price reacts around this zone, right? And if it reacts, it gives us clarity that that zone has a really good potential for it to drop. So that means if this has to play out, that means we're bullish. We're continued to be bullish on EURGBP. Did I even put that on there? I didn't. So we're going to do EG, stayed bullish. But we're setting up for the bigger move of it to drop. That is the ultimate goal. Okay. So EG continued buys. And that's it. I mean, I know Douglas, you're on here, so I'll go over Litecoin or LTC. So let me move this. I'm in these two trades right now, actually. Let me add this. So I'm in AUDNZD for a buy. So it stopped me out down here. I barely lost anything. It was super tight risk management, but I re-entered again because this is on my list too. If we go to the daily, all the other things I've been telling you guys about, or the 4 hour, let me actually go to that. I've been wanting this thing to shoot up, right? Because look at this. I'm going to draw it up so you guys see it over and over again. Why I love these trades. They set up the exact same way every fucking time. Right here. Now that we're down here, I was basing it off of this. I think it's still a stop point high, but let's see the difference. Not that big of a difference, right? So you have from here to here. And if I switch this and bring it down to there, it would give me this zone, which actually lines up with the red line. I don't even have to draw it. So that's crazy. So let me put it there. I want to see it pull back up, hit this zone, hit recent support, turn resistance, right? Look at how many times it reacted, clear as day. It's a very opportune place, if you will. So that's why I'm still bullish on it. So I think this just was a stop point low, just to induce some sellers, and they wicked it, hit the stop losses, hit sell stops to activate the sellers, and then they're gonna reverse this shit up, hit that zone, and then tank it. So we're still bullish on AURNZD. And then this one I will do for you. Oh, and I'm on GBP Chief. I have this thing for sale. Even though the other GBPs are going up, I still think this thing's got potential to drop. Just to retest the zone. Look at how big that is. It's just been conflicting. If I do get out, it'll be soon, but I'm paying attention to it. It could be a complete reversal up here, but based on what I see before this, I think it's going to drop first, then it's going to go up. And it's riding out these EMAs, right? So it's another thing. It didn't give me a perfect identity zone. It isn't perfect hidden divergence, so I'm not 100%. I took this thing out of just like wanting to get into it. So this isn't like the perfect setup, but I still see potential. And then I'm going to go to LTC USD. Like I'm going to go to Coinbase. This one played out. I said we were looking for buys on this the other day. I'm still on that path. Let me see, actually. Here's the divergence. Not really there, not there. Go to the 4 hour. Oh, I remember now. We wanted to see it drop first and then overall be bullish. It didn't do the big drop. I don't think I did it yesterday. Did I do it yesterday? It dropped here, almost at the 800 EMA. It was close. It bounced off that resistance zone. It's in an interesting spot. Let me take this off. Let me see if it does shoot down. I want to see it break because it's already, I mean, look at this. Right, so you have this peak, which is here, which is already higher than where it's currently at. So this drops down. This will drop a little further, and then we'll see a potential buy zone in this area right here, which also, guess what? Lines up directly with ding, 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 the trend line. So we have a trend line, EMA hit. This might be a 38.2 retracement. I think that's why I had drawn up before. Let's take a look. Go from here to there. 38.2 retracement, maybe down to the 50. That would be perfect. And we look for those buys. So still bullish, look for a stop point low, and then a buy. That's it. That's all we're looking for. So with that being said, for those that are hopped on, which is not a lot, and for those that are watching this publicly, let's see what we get tonight. If you guys ever get any results, send me a message, shoot us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Love to see what you guys are doing because I would love to add you to our testimony section because we're going to be doing a lot of promotion on that. And the more testimonies, the better. So I will see you guys next week for the free chart analysis. And for those of you that are still in the paid section, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.